Rotarians and guests, at the recent Pets Day, attendees heard from the DG, and many would have thought that his comments would be mostly about Rotary and the important sales pitches we all should be aware of and we're used to from DGs. I was delighted when our DG took the time to speak about leadership and its importance in running a club. Likewise, I'm sure you'll be similarly impressed with what DG John and Rotarian Julie have to say today. The details are well and truly listed in our bulletin, so would you please welcome DG John and shortly followed by Rotarian Julie Campbell.
Good afternoon, Rotarians and distinguished guests and friends. Thank you for inviting Julie and I to join you today and to speak about our Rotary journey over the next 12 months. It was about in 1967 that I first became involved with Rotary when I joined the Interact Club at Adelaide Boys High School, which was a youth project of this club. I re-met this afternoon Peter Sanderson, who was a teacher at Adelaide Boys High School at that time, and we did a lot of reminiscing and tried to remember different names. So I thank the former leaders of this club for their foresight to bring Interact to life, and to those leaders since who have maintained and supported that very active Interact Club. Now, of course, Rotary and Interact have changed greatly over the years. Both have female members now, and there was no way in the world that we would have got a female into one of the Interact Club meetings at Adelaide Boys High School in the 60s. And of course, Rotaract first came to life in District 250, which is now 9500 in 1971, when my club, the Rotaract Club of Edwardstown, commenced. Your own club sponsored an early Rotaract club and has since restarted that club. So I wonder what the next 47 years has in store for Rotary. Certainly, more good work throughout the world will continue. I recently listened to the entertainer and humanitarian Bono speak from one of his visits to Ghana, and he said, "Wherever I go to do my work, the Rotarians have been there before me." It is a very humbling thing to discover just exactly what putting service before yourself adds up to when you see it in practice on the field. When polio is finally eradicated, and he said, "You know that it will be soon," you will stand clearly in the first chapter of that book. "I admire Rotary's close interventions so much," he said. "They are well thought out, enacted, and so I thought nowhere better than right in the field to send you my very best and really offer thanks and gratitude for what you are doing. From following the crowd, thanks again," said Bono. Now, it's wonderful endorsement of Rotary when it's coming from the words from the mouth of Bono, because Bono reaches another part of the world that we perhaps can't get to. I would like to speak more on the Polio Campaign and the Rotary Foundation. In January, Julie and I attended the International Rotary Assembly in San Diego, where 540 incoming district governors from around the world, together with their partners, were brought together for the final phase of our training as district governors. We were asked to imagine a world today without our foundation, the Rotary Foundation. For example, in the 80s, throughout the world there are 1,000 new cases of polio every day. Now, less than one per day. At the recent international convention in Sydney that a number of you attended, we heard the great news from the Polio Campaign that in Nigeria, where this time last year there were 122 new cases of polio in that country year to date, for the same period this year it's down to just 3. Now this must give us hope that this dreaded disease is going to be conquered. Many of you may already know that Julie and I took part in the bridge walk in the lead up to the Sydney Convention. 2 records were broken that day, the most climbers on the bridge at any one time, and that numbered 340, and at the same time the most flags ever displayed on the bridge, 278. And at that stage, the grey bridge was transformed into a kaleidoscope of colour. But more importantly, the operators of the bridge climb donated half of the cost of the bridge to the End Polio Campaign. And to put that into perspective, that meant that there was sufficient money raised to immunise 240,000 children against polio, a huge event. Clubs will be asked to donate at least $1,500 to the End Polio Campaign this year, and I recommend that by making the donations early in the 2014-15 year, we can expect that our money will gain the very generous 2-for-1 subsidy from the Gates Foundation. So that changes $1,500 to $4,500, and I think the accountants and the financial people in the room will see that as a very good return on the dollar. On July 1, our district responded to the requests to donate 20% of the district designated grants, and that's the foundation money that comes back to our district from the Rotary Foundation to the End Polio Campaign. And our payment was made duly on the 1st of July, and we'll see that also collect that 2-for-1 subsidy. Bono did mention of just how close we are to eradicating polio throughout the world. We all know that, and we all know that completing that war is not easy and it's not cheap, but we must finish the job. As Rotarians, as leaders, we do not give up minutes or hours, but we give up years for the children to be immunised. And as Bill Gates said, as long as polio threatens even one child anywhere in the world, all children, wherever they live, remain at risk. The stakes are that high. Now, I know, as well as everybody else in this room, that we are continuously asked to support this charity or that charity, and like me, we all make a conscious decision as to which charity receives our money. And over the last couple of years, Tony Robbins has been very active in the Rotary Club of Adelaide, encouraging Centurion Club members. And the Centurion donates $100 to the Rotary Foundation each year. Now, we have seen this taking good ground from in 2012-13, 23% of your members contributed to the the Centurion Club, to last year 34%, and that meant that $5,500 was collected or donated by your members. Now just imagine if there was 100% take up in the Centurion Club membership. And your club's commitment to the End Polio Campaign last year of $10,000 was exceptional and was a leading example to the district. At your recent changeover, we witnessed 3 new Paul Harris Fellow presentations to Rob Thomas, Barry Noble and David Egan for their contribution to Rotary. And to be presented with a Paul Harris Fellow is in recognition of $1,000 US being donated to the Rotary Foundation in your name. And those Paul Harris Fellows are in very good company, because outside of this room, outside of Rotary, Paul Harris Fellows have been presented to such notable people as Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Kofi Annan, Prince Charles, Indira Gandhi, just to name a few. So Rotary Club of Adelaide's growing commitment to the Rotary Foundation is gratefully acknowledged. Thank you to your generosity, and thank Tony Robbins for standing up to carry the foundation mantle to your club. And please keep on the good work in supporting our foundation, the Rotary Foundation. It's a wonderful time in Rotary's rich history to be sharing the new theme, Light Up Rotary, which will help us take Rotary to the next level, I'm sure. International President Gary Wang quotes Confucius as having said, "It is better to light a single candle than to sit and curse the darkness." Gary goes on to say that many people say, "There's nothing I can do." They sit there, they do nothing, everything stays dark. But Gary goes on to say, but this is not the Rotary way. The Rotary way is the Confucius way. And that is to light a candle. I light one, you light one, 1.2 million Rotarians around the world like one. And Lima Godwe, who was the 2011 Peace Laureate, who spoke at the Lisbon International Convention last year, put it another way. Too many people step into the shadows and let evil take the light. We need to step out of the shadows and leave a legacy. Lima called on us to turn this upside-down world upright. So Light Up Rotary follows beautifully last year's theme of Engage Rotary and Change Lives, and it'll be easy for us to work with as we strive to bring light and hope to the local and distant communities and the vulnerable communities and enhance our brand to the world. We all know that when we're working together and enjoying each other's company, the job is much easier. And this couldn't have been more evident at your recent celebration of the motor car, when the paying members of the public and the club membership thoroughly enjoyed the experience. It was a wonderful day, and it was a successful day. Congratulations. And I'm encouraged by, and I know that you would be encouraged by, the Rotary Club of Adelaide's development of the Rotary Strategic Directions 2014-15 document. This is a succinct document and makes so much sense, and it's an example to all clubs. I'm grateful to past President Frank O'Neill and past Secretary Robert Thomas for readily engaging with me at the recent President's-elect Training Day that Peter just mentioned, and for them to share their experiences of their leadership roles to the incoming presidents and board members from the district. And indeed, more members of the Rotary Club of Adelaide are embracing roles in the district committees and sharing their experience with a wider Rotary community. My vision for Rotary in 2014-15 takes the lead from President Gary Wang and can be summarised as, firstly, that we do step up into the light and light up Rotary throughout this district. Already at the many club changeovers, there have been so many interpretations of this theme which will spill out into their communities. Several suggested projects from your club, such as supporting the City of Adelaide Clipper Ship project and the Virtual War Memorial, have been brought to my attention, and these will be taken to the first District Committee Chairs meeting for discussion. Secondly, that Rotary District 5, 9,500 members and clubs support the foundation and bring a total of $276,000 this year, including $66,000 to the End Polio Challenge. As you know, there's a combined foundation celebration on the 9th of August with Rotary Peace Scholar Jung Nitsky as the guest speaker. And I'm also looking forward to District 9,500 Foundation project in November to celebrate our Foundation Month. Thirdly, that membership continues to strengthen, and I'd like to recognise and welcome your newest member, Michael Elwood. But it's been wonderful to see so many new members inducted into clubs at changeovers, and so many of them are younger members. I helped induct Neil Gentle to the Rotary Club of Roxby District a couple of weeks ago, and Neil came from Melbourne. He's a former Rotary exchange student to Brazil. He's a former Rotary Youth Leadership awardee, and when he came to Roxby Downs, he saw a Rotary sign and decided there and then that it was time for him to give back to the community and through Rotary. Jose Ferreras was inducted into the Playford Club on Monday night, originally from Argentina, where he'd been an interactor and a Rotaractor, had settled in Adelaide and wanted to become a Rotarian. This year, we plan to charter an E-Club in the district. An E-Club is an IT club where members don't meet as we're meeting today. It'll be different. We will continue to pursue our quest to re-establish a club in Ceduna, and Rotary clubs will be encouraged to consider and to establish new Interact and Rotaract clubs. On August the 8th has been set aside for the charter of the Rotaract Club of Salisbury City. And all of these initiatives and incentives go towards strengthening our Rotary family. Fourthly, that we introduce some more internationality into our clubs. And that can be by way of adopting new overseas projects, even partnering with an overseas club to help a local project. And your plans for the new projects up in the Philippines come to mind. It may be a club meeting or a social event with an international emphasis, or perhaps it's just listening to President Gary Wong's Rotary song. And if you haven't heard it yet, ask Peter for a demonstration. Fifthly, that good leadership is demonstrated in the district and at club level and to our communities. Our President-elect and District Assembly days seem to have hit the right nerves, and we will be holding similar events throughout the year to more equip our leaders into the future. The Rotary Leadership Institute program will continue, and some members from your club have already participated in that. And incidentally, both districts have a very good working relationship. Both districts participate in this Rotary Leadership Institute training program. And the 4 levels of district governor from both districts meet on a regular basis, quarterly, to discuss new opportunities for Rotary. And in 6th position is the district and club support the public awareness program that will be incorporating Rotary Days. We're working with District 9520 on one such event, but I can see that we're going to have many Rotary Days in this next 12 months. So you see, the reality is that all Rotarians are leaders in our families, our communities, in our careers, and by our very own nature, in 34,000 communities throughout the world, we do step into the light and take the lead and get things done because it's in our DNA. Let us light up Rotary together. I'd like to now introduce my wife, Rotarian Julie Campbell, who will be speaking about a very special project.
Thank you very much, John. Rotarians and guests, I appreciate the time allocated to me today to talk about my Partners project, which I've elected to support during John's year as District Governor, and which I hope will be assisted by all clubs in District 9500. A project which will not detract from your club's fundraising commitments, but will provide you with great satisfaction. Souls for Souls, as per the soles on your shoes, for human souls, collects gently worn or new shoes for children, men and women in need around the world, both in Australia and abroad, who are disadvantaged because they do not own shoes or they have inadequate footwear. Millions of children will grow up never having a pair of shoes, resulting in significant ramifications for their health and well-being, will not be able or be permitted to attend school, will be infected with soil-transmitted parasitic disease, causing lasting suffering and lifelong debilitation. But let me just take you quickly back to the beginning, when John attended an industry convention in the USA in June 2011 and heard a speaker talking about Souls for Souls. Discovered the charity was not in Australia and came home to Adelaide talking about this amazing project, wondering how he could make it happen here. A few months later, he was put in touch with a young Adelaide lady, Dallas Kennedy, who subsequently founded Souls for Souls Australia. Dallas is now a Rotarian Adelaide Light. By now it was September 2011 and Dallas set a target to try and collect 10,000 shoes in 3 months. But such was the support and interest in the campaign that the original goal was surpassed in 5 weeks. And by the end of 3 months, more than 52,000 pairs of shoes were received from across Adelaide. Then they had to find somewhere to store them. Now, in 2014, shoes are sorted and packed by Wesley Social Enterprises, which is providing employment for people living with a disability, based in Alberton, and are redistributed in Australia, Tanzania, Vanuatu and Guatemala. Port Adelaide Football Club, Peter, and the Nunga Netball in South Australia take sports shoes and football boots to the Indigenous communities when they conduct their training clinics. Volunteer partner organisations and Souls for Souls assist distribution in Tanzania and developing countries. So Souls for Souls is able to change their lives through the generosity and donation of shoes and funds, and my aim this year is to collect 8,500 pairs of shoes, together with a gold coin donation for each pair. This will enable Rotary to fully fund a shipping container of shoes to Tanzania, and that is why I thank you today for your donation of shoes and coins. I really appreciate the fact that so many of you have brought them along today. I will have to bring my car around to take them home. And if there's any further collection, then it would be good if you could appoint somebody in your club perhaps to collect further shoes and small change, and then liaise with me regarding their collection. And as you can see, your gifts today will assist us as together as we light up Rotary. Thank you very much.
I encourage people to venture to the west of Adelaide occasionally. Get out of the foothills and get down to this wonderful place called Alberton. There's some great heart down there. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, John. I think we've got time for questions, if you'd like to answer any questions about your experience to date, or any issues about, not issues, but any questions about Souls for Souls. Do we have any questions for our guests? Going to let them get off scot-free, are we? Okay.
I don't have a question, but I'll volunteer to collect the shoes for Julie because I don't live very far away and I can deliver them to you.
Fantastic. You can all relax. Kay has offered to collect the shoes, polish them, tie the laces and deliver them to Julie. So well done, Kay. Great work. Any questions, comments? I think you've just about covered it, guys. We're running slightly ahead of time, but that's okay. I think probably it's now time to simply say that Rotarians and guests, we have now had the pleasure of our annual DG visit and the board session beforehand, and we can wipe our brows and say we've got another one under our belt. But I'm sure you'll agree that this one was well worth coming to hear. John, Julie, many thanks for sharing your words today and enhancing the best hour of the week. John, I'd like you to step up and receive a small token of our appreciation. Our first fresh, it's actually number 2 of our new banner going to the DG. Number 1 went to the initiator of the project, past President Frank, last evening in fellowship. So I hope you hang that with pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed.